Next one on here, and this one kind of ties kind of specifically in your story. What is your advice for someone with a channel that's over a year old that feels dead?
Yeah, whatever you're doing, just think of a way to reinvent yourself. Often you'll be doing oversaturated content or content that's too niche. So pivot from that and really take things in a better direction that you enjoy doing, because you're gonna, the worst thing that can happen is that your channel is just going to keep on dying. So you might as well try and do this thing that you really want to do. And that'll come through in the videos that you really enjoy it. And if people can pick up on that enthusiasm, they're going to be enthusiastic about it as well.
And that's 3C, Chris. His story, 2-3 years into his channel, no traction whatsoever. And then he went, when Us came out, when Chucky came out, he's like, I'm really passionate about Chucky. Let me do a bunch of deep dives into this. Yeah. And 2-3 years into his channel, starts to reinvent it. And then he's reinvented himself a couple times since then to get all this success. And it's like most people, they didn't figure out what they were good at in their first month.
Yeah.
Most people didn't have a fantastic idea right out of the gate. It took multiple years.
Because you see what fails as well, but you need to put the time in to know something has failed. Mm-hmm. Right. You can't say after a week, oh, well, this has failed. It takes a good 6 months to be like, yeah, this didn't work.
So and I put out my first ranking in my first 2 weeks of my channel, and it was a hit, but I didn't learn the lesson yet. 9 months in, I looked at the numbers and I went, okay, if I put out a movie review, it gets 100 views. If I put out a ranking of that same franchise, it gets 500 views. 500 is more than 100. Let me start doing these weekly. And then, so I did 6 months of those and doing weekly. And then it was 2 for a week. I would do the new franchise and then one kind of classic franchise. And they were doing good. And then I stopped to think, these are all like podcasts. They're like 30, 40 minutes long for short franchises. I wouldn't watch my content. They're more successful than my previous ones, but they're not what I would watch. What if I did it in a 10-minute video? And when I did that, was my first video that got 300,000 views. Yeah. I mean, it was 10 times, over 10 times what my previous top video was, but it was paying attention, it was learning. And here's something we touched, I meant to mention this before. You were talking about how when you have a video that takes off and you get a new audience, your videos start to show up recommended to people. If you do evergreen content, like a lot of my stuff's pretty evergreen because it's about franchises. So then for me, when I have a video take off, all those new people that discover my channel, YouTube cross-references my archive of content with their viewing history and go, okay, they like Indiana Jones. And so then all these old videos I did start popping up in that person's feed for the next week. So every time I catch up the wave of new viewers, new audience, my Bond ranking is kind of taken off. I'm getting a bunch of new viewers from it. My Halloween ranking taking off. So all these old videos that I did suddenly are getting traction and people are discovering them. And I don't remember how I even went down this rabbit trail, but I had some things I wanted to say that I forgot to mention at some point in time. But yeah, I mean, it's having that archive of content. It's learning the lessons as you go along and slowly discovering it. And that doesn't happen overnight. That's what it was. That's right. And but that was like my journey of becoming the ranking guy. It was a year straight of little lessons learned. Actually, it was a year and a half straight of little lessons learned, piece by piece. Like, here's a good idea. Oh, what if I did it consistently? What if I did it better? What if I did it better and had a set of videos? So it's not just my one ranking, but it's 3 rankings whenever something new comes out. So it's like a whole content of momentum every time. And that's what changed the trajectory of my life, was a process of slowly figuring it out, learning, upgrading, and doing a little bit better.